everybody. Welcome to the PVD Horror Podcast. I am Dave, and today I have a bunch of faces here, but I'm really excited about this. So we're going to be discussing a very unique film called Aberrance. And joining me today, I have the director and co-writer, Baatar Batsukh. And joining him is also producers Trevor Doyle and Alexa Khan. Alexa is going to help me translate because this is a Mongolian horror feature. And it's not just any Mongolian horror feature. This is the first Mongolian horror feature to be released theatrically in the US. And it's starting its limited theatrical release as of today. So this is very exciting. I want to thank you all for being here. I'm really excited about this. This is very unique. If you like all things horror and want to get the best horror news, interviews, and reviews,
like, subscribe, and ring that bell to follow us and satisfy all your horror needs.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
Thank you. I guess I can start off by asking, with this being the first Mongolian horror feature that's going to get released in the US, how did all that happen?
Okay. Well, so inception wise, maybe that's something that we can discuss that later, but it really just happened after we got officially selected in Oldenburg Film Festival, and then we got the Audacity Award. We got a really nice raving critic. It was like a love letter to us, and that just gave us boost. Wow. And hey, it's not just us who love the movie. We actually also love it. And then outside of Mongolia, right? And then after that, Trevor was working on this grueling hours on submitting South by Southwest, and he's like, let's just try it, whatever. And then we got selected, so we were like, oh my gosh. So, and at South by Southwest, it was sold out on all 4 showings. There was lines out the door, and people were upset that the tickets were sold out, and it was just happening over and over again. So after that, we got crazy reviews. It went to different festivals, and then from there, in Cannes, we got acquired by Freestyle Media, and then they said that let's do theatrical, let's do all of this. So that's how it happened, and we're just so happy. We're thankful to Raven Banner, who's our sales agent, and then Freestyle Digital Media, who acquired us and made this possible.
Yeah, this might be a tough question, but as you're saying that, I'm thinking about the positive reviews. I'm just curious, what have those reviews been like? What are people really taking away from this film? Like, I have my own opinions, but I'm curious what you guys are hearing kind of consistently that people are connecting with for this film.
Do you want to go first, Trevor, and I'll add?
Sure. I think visually, the visual style is what people are really, and also I think another thing that people constantly seem to say is, it's a horror film for people who are horror fanatics, but it's also a thriller film for people who maybe don't like horror. So it has a very broad appeal, and the way that the dread and the horror is put together is more internalized. So I think that I think that lends to people from many different walks of life enjoying it, and I think that's one of the things that we get a lot of in the reviews.
Yeah, I definitely can see those things. Yeah.
Alexa?
And also said that they're just, when you think you figured it out, you didn't. That was common. Common feedback.
Yeah, people love a good twist, and this is stocked with them. So absolutely, that's pretty accurate to how I was feeling as I was watching the film as well. So that's great. Baatar, I just, Trevor kind of alluded to this prior to us recording, but I just wanted to hear you explain it. Team Hero, can you give our listeners an idea of what Team Hero is and why it's called Team Hero?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Team Hero is needing Team Hero гэж хин бэ гинэ Баатар.
Team Hero гэдэг бол нөгөө бид нар багийн залуучууд би болон миний багийн залуучууд Team Hero. Баатаргийн team.
Тэгээ чиний нэр тий? So Baatar means hero in Mongolian. So basically, it's Team Baatar's team, and so he has two camera ops and people in his team, and as a team, they've been making movies for many years now. Baatar has been doing cinematography for about 15 years, worked on almost 30 movies, and this is his directorial debut. But so Team Hero stands for basically, it's like, Spielberg, basically the same thing. It's team.
Yeah. Talk about setting a kid up for success, giving them a name that means hero. That's right off to it's a good step right there.
Yes.
So I'll ask this to all of you. Are you all horror fans, and do you have favorite horror films? That's kind of a general question our listeners always love to know.
Well,
Sure.
I'll start. Yeah, I mean, I love horror films. I like basically all types of horror films. I like the splatter horror, and I also like the horror films that are, they go in a little bit deeper. I think for me, the reason why I love horror films is kind of like, comedy. You're allowed to say things that are true, but nobody has the guts to say. It's like horror is the same way. It's like you get this chance to explore things that normally you can't explore, but they're real and they're out there. But the venue allows you to say something and go places that no other venue allows you to do, which is one of the things that I love. And of course, I mean, I'm a crazy fan of Sam Raimi. I love. I mean, like, for me, that's the kind of horror, like Army of Darkness, I think is maybe my favorite horror film of all time. And for us, what was really crazy with this film is we were at festivals, in the same category with Evil Dead Rise. Like, so for me, that was like, wait a minute, we're like, we're at South by Southwest with Evil Dead Rise. Wait a minute.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's incredible.
I have to be honest, I'm not a huge horror fan. Sixth Sense, What Lies Beneath, and Halle Berry's movie, I forgot the name of it, but those are the movies that, Ring, even though it was so scary, and especially when, crawled out of the screen, that was the craziest moment. Even then, I actually really enjoyed it. So maybe subconsciously I like it, but consciously, I'm not a huge fan of it, but I love mystery thriller.
Okay.
And so that's one of the things that the critics said, is that this is something that horror fans like because of the mystery thriller side of it. And that I truly enjoyed it, because there's meaning behind it and all of that. So that's why I like this movie. But as far as like a crazy slasher horror,
not for you.
No offense to all of the fans. That's just my.
Hey, everybody has their own things that they like, so we don't judge. That's the great thing about the genre, is there's so many different types of horror that, like, you might not like this, but you might like this, and that's what we love. That's why we love giving recommendations to people too, because I typically have a co-host on. His name's Brandon, and the two of us, we just have like such a diverse love for the genre. We love all different subgenres, and I love trying to be like, oh, well, what do you like? And here, I think you might like this. Like this film, I definitely have like people in mind that I would recommend this to, because I know it would be right up their alley. So it's a very specific type of more psychological and, like you said, thriller mystery. I think, for fans of that, they're gonna love this.
Right. And let me ask Baatar real quick. Baatar, чи аим шиг кинонд дуртай юу? Ямар аим шиг кинонд дуртай вэ гинэ? Mute дээр байгаа дээ.
Би бол нэг аим шиг кинонд дуртай биш. Гэхдээ би Conjuring гэдэг нөгөө юу гэдэг. Эхнэр нь хөрөлийн цуврал гэдэг шүү дээ. Би Conjuring дуртай. Яг гоё нөгөө юм бодтой болсон төгөөдөр ингээд аюу гоё хийдэг. Тэдрийг аюу гоё харуулж чаддаг те. Бүр юм нэрээс бас ийм амар болсон багтаа гэдэг юм. Бодит мэдрэмж гэдэг болохоор хийцэл нь хүртэл юм аюу гоё юм бодтой юм. Яг маг шиг. Conjuring.
So Conjuring is his favorite. Horror, he's not a big fan of it. He likes Conjuring because of the reality perspective of it, and it feels like it's real and it's kind of historical or like based on true story. That type of element, he really likes it, and that's why with Aberrance he wanted to have it like a first person experience as if we're there living with them. Hence the long shots of just watching them just live there. And that's what he wanted to portray as real as possible.
The Conjuring actually took place, the real story of The Conjuring took place in the state that I live in here. Oh. So that's actually so funny that that's the film that you referenced, and that is where, and it's Rhode Island is where that took place. So that is funny.
Conjuring гэдэг нь яг жинхэнэ босон явдлын Дэвийн Rhode Island гэдэг хотод болж ирсэн гинэ. Тэгээд тэр Conjuring гэж хэлсэн чинь амар сонирн байд гинэ. Мэдчихэж байгаа юм шиг.
Тийм. Уусаа wished.
Yeah, he absolutely movie, and it's a or maybe not.
So I'm gonna ask Baatar to explain to our listeners like a brief summary or a synopsis of what Aberrance is about.
За Aberrance яг нэ чиний хувьд юуны тухай?
Үнэ ярьж.
Aberrance кино яг юуны тухай, чиний хувьд юуны тухай гинэ?
Миний хувьд Монгол хүний тухай. Монгол хүний тухай. Энд одоо нөгөө маань нийгэм болоод байгаа бүсгүй зүйлийн тухай. Тэгээ бидний буруу зүг рүү яваад байгаагийн тухай. Бид бицээрэн бежиж тэрийг хийгээд байгаагийн тухай яг. Тэрний хөвгөө амар юм нэлтэй.
So he said it's about Mongolians at our current state of society. Even though and the direction it's headed, and in his opinion it's headed to a wrong direction, and the fact that everybody knows it, but people are kind of complicit, and people are they feel like they're choosing, but they're not. So that is something that he feels. And so even though everybody knows it's headed in the wrong direction, and he feels bothered by it, so that's what he wanted to portray. And this is a genre that just wakes all the senses, and then he's hitting it hard with the genre.
Yeah.
Монгол хүний тухай гэдэг хэлсэн дээ.
I think it's really interesting that a story that is that much like a reflection of where it's from, and kind of like an analyzation of where it's from, is the first film in this genre to cross over into another country's viewing. Interesting, because clearly, even though this is something that he was analyzing from where you were from, it's obviously connecting to people outside of there.
Yeah.
And that's such an impressive, but also I guess it means that we're all kind of experiencing something similar to that if we're able to connect with it.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
And that is the message that we're trying to also portray as producers, right? That this is the meaning, and this is something that Baatar is deeply concerned about, but we relate to all of that, right? Yeah. That's what's happening right now. It's just this crazy noise. We're distracted, and we're all headed to something. We think we have the power, but then do we really, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Excellent. That I love that explanation, and that makes me love this film even more. So it's interesting. That's why I love doing this, is because when you get inside the head of the creator of the art that you're watching, it can sometimes give you even further depth into that experience that you just had. So that's super interesting. I just was curious, where did the story originate? How did that thought come up? And as you were developing it, I know that you were saying using the genre for what it's worth, but also just the storyline. How did you come up with that storyline to explain the point you were trying to make?
Trevor, do you want to talk about the horror situation, and then I can about
Well, I mean, the idea to step into horror had more to do with, more than 5 years ago, we started, working on plans to make films in Mongolia, and we've been striving to change the dialogue about Mongolian cinema and have people interested in Mongolia in the same way they're interested in like Japan or Korea or China. So, we knew that we needed to do something different than the kind of broad sweeping epics that come out of Mongolia. And we just, we talked about it, and horror, we just felt it was the way to go. It was the venue that would most resonate with people everywhere. And that's, that's what we did. We went for the story, and of course, as far as the actual nitty gritty of the writing and what they wanted to do, that was Baatar and the other writer, because this story is really personal for Baatar. It's something that he it's important to him, and so it's really it was his vision and his story. So I'll let Baatar.
And so because this is a very commonly asked question, I'll just say it, and I'll just explain to Baatar real quick. In захвалыг яагаад хийсэн, яагаад хийх болсон гэнэ. Тэг угаасаа би мэдчихэж байгаа юм чи хариулчих заяа. Okay. So basically the story came about with, let's first of all, let's make a horror movie, mystery thriller, whatever it is. And then there's one location. Let's do this with one location. And he's a huge fan of Darren Aronofsky. He loves the movie Mother. And that's one location. It's very intense. So he wanted to have this one location, and everything just came out really perfectly together. And then this idea, he had it. And it is something that he's been wanting to say out loud. So with that being, and then using metaphor, how do you make it interesting? How do you appeal to a wider audience? What can you, what can you use to visually tell the story? What can you, what kind of characters and things like that? And so he picked the characters actually before the writing. So he already had the cast in mind, and then started writing the story in the way that it came out. And then he worked with two other writers. The main plot, the idea, the whole thing was mainly Baatar, and the other two helped basically like script doctor type of deal.
Okay. I have a question. I don't know if there's an easy answer to this. Let's say I was watching other Mongolian horror films. Is there certain things that make those films unique to something we might see here in the US? Is there, like, stylistically or story-wise, is there something that makes a Mongolian film feel different or look any different than a film we might, another film we might see? Like, this one was very stylistic, and I know you kind of alluded to that already with like the camera angle, the camera shots. When I was watching that, it was the first thing I noticed, but I was like, I don't know if that's just the choices that were made, or if that actually is more of a style that might be more present in that culture of film.
Do you mean with horror films or just with films in general?
I guess films in general, but I was in the realms of horror as well. If there's any things that you might see in a horror film there.
So like what I would say is that the horror genre in Mongolia is truly in its infancy, and most Mongolian filmmakers haven't quite cracked the egg. They don't, it's like they haven't connected to the Mongolian audience, and they're just not popular yet. This is really the first Mongolian film in the horror genre that people went and watched in Mongolia. It's like, Baatar cracked the egg.
Wow.
He's so, like, I mean, yes, there's some horror movies in Mongolia, but people haven't really watched them, and they don't, stylistically speaking, for instance, also most Mongolian films are really big. It's like they're epic shots and steppes and plateaus and mountains and horses and really big performances. And it's these quiet, smaller performances that are really, intuitive and mental. They're not real common in Mongolia, and that's like, it's a testament to Baatar's vision and directing style, because he took this film and it's deeply personal and very pointed, and you get a real chance to see like the inner workings of people's minds and things like that. And it's not a common thing that you see. It's really it's him.
Yeah,
that's his vision.
That's exactly what I was curious about. So that's really cool. And it's impressive. And I'm curious, was Baatar able to be present during any of the screenings at like South by Southwest or anything like that? Any of the US screenings?
Just last night was his first in the US, and I think it was great.
I have to ask how he experienced that, if you don't mind.
Yes. Өчигдөр ингээд Америкийн үзэгчтэй ингээд үзсэн чинь чиний сэтгэл ямар байсан бэ? Яг юу бодогдсон бэ гинэ? Одоо анхны удаа Америкт үзүүлж штэ хүмүүстэй. Америкийн
би гэртээ байгаа юм шиг санагдсан. Амар гоёсэн. Хүн айгуугаа хүлээж авсан. Зүгээр яг тийм нэг үгээр зүгээр би зүгээр гэртээ байгаа юм шиг санагдсан. Би бэрэгөө, би сандраагүй, би ингэж одоо янз бүрийн бодож ингээгүй те. Зүгээр л амар гоё чөлөөтэй байсан. Хүн болгон бүр амар гоё юм сэтгэл хангалуун байсан. Тэгэл гэртээ байгаа юм шиг байсан гэж.
Хүмүүсийн реакцийг одоо Америк хүмүүсийн те реакцийг харахад
тэр аюу хүчтэй хүлээж авчихсан нөгөө. Яг Канадад хоошоо ингээд нөгөө эргэлтүүд гарч эхлэнгүүт бүр камерын нөгөө тэр нэг юм хөдөлгөөнөдтэй хүмүүс бүртэй. Тэр нь бүр тийж ямар ингэж байгаа юм бах та гэж би бүр дотроо боцсон. Тийм амар мэдрэмжийг өгч байгаа юм байна та гэж би бодсон. Одоо юу гэх юм. Үнэхээр яг нөгөө кино үзэж сурцсан хүмүүс те. Ямар зүйл ойлгоод ингээд одоо юу гэж юм яг хэлж мэдэхгүй байна гэхдээ. Аюу гоё. Тэ.
So, well, first of all, we had the red carpet premiere last night for the distribution, right? For the theatrical release. So we had such a great time on the red carpet. A lot of friends came by. A lot of other people came by too. So he said that he just felt like he was at home, and he just felt so calm and peaceful. The fact that he's sharing this with everyone. So he just felt so happy, and the audience was amazing. He was able to connect with them. And so he sat with the audience and watched the movie yesterday. And when the things start happening, right? When the shocking things start happening, the audience was like, making all sorts of noise, that they were just such a lively audience that he's like, is it really hitting them this hard? Like, is it really truly, are they really affected this much? So he just felt so invigorated by that. And then he felt like it's such a sophisticated audience, right? Because I think, like Trevor was saying, in Mongolia, horror is something that is not popular. We have horror movies, but it's not like widely watched. We don't have like horror fans. I mean, we do, right? But over here, there's a following. There's this entire universe, right? So when people watch it, they have this very sophisticated knowledge, and they're very educated with horror genre in general. So when they watch it and then they're affected by it, it just felt like he was able to reach it, and he was able to be with the people that he wanted to portray the message, because he didn't get some of that in Mongolia. Some people didn't get it, but in the US, people thoroughly understood it so deeply that they came up with different plot lines that he's like, oh, I never thought about that. So that is, he was so happy that it reached it to the level that he wanted, and even deeper.
Very cool. So it's so funny that he said that about everyone's reactions. We have to watch a lot of films for this podcast, and in general, I like to watch films. I found myself yelling at the TV a couple of times, like, what? And I haven't done that in so long. So the twists definitely were hitting really well. I was like, this is like the Mongolian M. Night Shyamalan at some points. It was good. I was not expecting some of the twists to happen. So very effective. the last thing I want to just kind of point out about this film is the performances.
Oh,
and I just felt like everybody put on such a strong performance. Just very impressive. What can you tell me about the actors? Are they all seasoned actors? Like, obviously I'm not super familiar with Mongolian film, so I hadn't seen them all before, but like, if you asked me, I would have thought they have been acting forever. So I don't know.
Most of them are acting forever. You're right.
Yeah. Okay.
The doctor is just, I don't know, as I was growing up, all I saw was her. You know, she was always there. She portrays a sweet angel role, and then, you know, menacing, but I don't want to give out anything. But and everyone is seasoned actor, but Selingay actually is a kind of new actress. She's the lead role, and she there was another actress. The role was written for another actress, but she backed out at the last minute because something happened.
Okay.
So they pointed at her and said, "We've auditioned so many people, you're it." And she's like, "Are you sure?" She's a romantic comedy girl, you know. She's like so to her, she saw the script and she's like, "Oh my gosh, I have to do this. This is it's challenging. It's amazing, but this is not who I am. It's completely different." And then they're like, "You can do it." So within 2 days to shoot, they decided and they got on it. And you know, it was an odd couple with Irkme, because Irkme is this big guy who looks older.
Yes.
And when Baatar saw them together, it's like, oh, this is like Beauty and the Beast. It's an odd couple.
Sure.
But it works within the story.
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So it's like, this is even better.
Yeah.
And that's how she felt too. And then so that's how the cast of the couple came about. But everybody else is just seasoned. The roles were written for them, and they did an amazing job. And it just, a lot of people also said that it just feels like you're there witnessing this life that we're not in.
Yeah.
Right? Like uncomfortable. Really?
100% agree with that. That's exactly how I was experiencing it. She was amazing. It's hard to not watch her. She's, you know, very beautiful, obviously, but she captures emotion really well on the film, and like, it just super effective. And her husband in the film is like great. Like, he plays that role perfectly. But yeah, you spend the majority of the film trying to figure out these characters and what's their intention. I don't know.
Yes. Also, I can say that, like, Selengay's performance, you know, the way the story was written, she very easily could have played a victim. It could have felt like you were watching a victim film, but the direction and the performance was such that you know, she's shown through as a hero also. So I think that's it was impressive. I think that stepping out of, you know, the romantic comedy was the perfect thing for her, because I feel like she really had a chance to shine as an excellent actress.
Sure. Show a little diversity for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And it was our luck that things went the way they did, because I don't think anyone else could have done that role that way.
Absolutely. I agree. So let me just ask, is there anything, you know, obviously this is getting its release and we're hoping to continue to see it hit other theaters in the upcoming months. Does Baatar have anything else he's working on that he's also hoping gets to be seen by wider audiences, or is it just this that he's focusing on at the moment?
Baatar өөрийн юу гинэ. Би нөгөөтгөө одоо нөгөө юугаа ярьчих.
Юугаа?
Гажуудал тэгээд энийг ингээд ертөнцийг ярьчих.
Okay.
Yes, so actually we're working on the prequel. And it's already shot, so we're working on the post. And there's more to come within Aberrance. It's a universe that yes.
Excellent. All right.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is
so there'll be horror, but the reason we're calling it a universe is because we want to make stories around this whole, you know, central idea that are in different genres.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. That's really great to hear. So do me a favor. when you guys have the next project going on that fits into the realm of PVD horror, please come back and talk to us more. I hope we get to check it out.
Absolutely. We would love to do that. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
This has been great. Yeah.
So just a reminder to the listeners, select theaters, Aberrance, check it out starting today. It's a Friday. And then hopefully as months go on, we'll start to see it in more theaters. Trevor, I don't know if you want to kind of give the rundown of what's next on that.
Well, I mean, it's playing at the Royal Theater in Santa Monica. Yeah. It starts today. It's there for a week, and then what's the first day of the showing in Chicago?
On the 12th, AMC Skokie for a week there. So tonight we're gonna be there for Q&A, and tomorrow also at the Lemley Royal Theater, and then in AMC Skokie in Chicago, we're gonna be there on the 12th also to answer questions and be with audience. So and then it's supposed to come out in January in the streaming services, but we don't know what's gonna happen with theatrical. Like you said, it could be extended version of it, so we don't know.
Okay, all right, sounds good. So everybody keep your eyes peeled, but you'll be able to check it out one way or another, it sounds like, in January at least.
Yes.
All right, Trevor, Alexa, Baatar, thank you all so much for joining me. This was excellent, and we've had a lot of firsts on here as far as like different countries we've been able to connect with. This is definitely a first with Mongolia, so hopefully it's not the last. But
thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate you all.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, everybody, check out Aberrance in theaters or on streaming in January, but you can hopefully check it out sooner than later. And we will be back next week with a new episode. Thank you for listening. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Dave.
Bye.
Thank you.